Hello, welcome back to my channel. It's great to see you all here again. As the title for today's video suggests, we'll be talking about vulnerability and how it feels like nakedness. That's how I like to describe it. On top of looking at it from a creator's point of view, we'll also talk about it in general. But before that, I'd like to pose some questions. When did you last feel afraid of being too real while sharing something about yourself? Number two, when was the last time you cringed for doing something that made you feel too exposed? As you think about those questions, let me give a brief example using my own experience. For a couple of years now, I've been trying to consistently share my work on TikTok. I write poems, so I thought it would be a good idea to share some of them on my platform. If you were to ask me how it has been, my opening sentence would be, it hasn't been easy. What about it has been hard? It's just posting a poem and letting other people read it. And that was what I thought until I realized that some of my poems felt too raw. Poetry is like my escape, a means that I use to express thoughts that I can say out loud. So when I share some of my poems, I feel too seen, as if I'm standing on a podium stark naked. This feeling of being too seen gets overwhelming, and when it does, I sometimes decide against posting some of my work just to avoid dealing with the feeling of being too vulnerable on an app accessible to millions of people. That's a stretch though, since it's not like all of them can view my poetry, but still. Where do these feelings stem from? Where does this overwhelming amount of cringe come from? On my part, I think it's from a fear of being judged and a perfectionism mindset. Whenever I post, I feel as if I'm giving out a part of me to the world, a part that I'd rather keep hidden. This is probably one of the main things that holds me and maybe a lot of us back. The fear of being judged and criticized. If we keep dwelling on this fear, we won't ever show up with our stories and our art to the world. We won't reach our audience because we're afraid of what a few people who aren't even part of our audience will think of our craft. On perfectionism, I'd just like to tell myself and any other person struggling with this that if you never allow yourself to have a beginning, what will you have to show for your journey? You cannot expect to nail whatever it is you want to nail right off the bat. I know there are those who do it successfully from the very start, but if it's not you, you don't have to be discouraged. Having a rough start is a great way to have something to compare to when you become better. For growth to happen, you have to at least be willing to trip a little and sometimes fall in your journey. I'm saying this because I've realized that sometimes I have these crazy standards for myself. Sometimes I want to get something right at the first trial, and when I don't, I get highly disappointed. Having said all that, I'd just like to conclude with this statement. Whatever you want to do, do it. Post that video, post that poem, post that song, post that novel. If you know deep inside you that you have something to offer, if you know that there's a piece of you that will help somebody else, even if that someone else is yourself, share it. You'll cringe. You'll feel like ripping your hair out. I've felt this so many times I've even lost count. You'll shudder at the thought of people seeing your work. You'll experience doubt at first, but guess what? You'll eventually grow. When you reach a different level, you realize that you starting was the best decision you could make. That work you thought was not worthy of being shared will be an experience you look back to and see how much you've grown. It will be like a notebook from your previous class, one that you'll use to revise in order to pass your next exam. So do it. Fanya, eka, and translate do in the language and do that. Don't worry about what they'll say, especially negative things, and be kind to yourself. Know that you're also learning, and for you to do so, you have to be willing to make mistakes and learn from them. And that's about it for this video, beautiful people of planet Earth. As always, it was nice spending time with you all. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.